Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Seong-Jun Kim. I'm a software developer from ITS. I work at the CCT Web Technologies Application Development team. And yeah, today I'm going to introduce you to the IIIF framework, which is short for International Image Interoperability Framework. You can see from the name that it has something to do with image and interoperability. So basically, yeah, everything revolves around the images. If you have looked at my presentation description, I said I was going to introduce IIIF first briefly and then move on to our experience implementing. But I think it's more relevant to give comprehensive introduction first, and then if I have time, I can go on to our experience. But I don't think it's as important. So I'm gonna be really make a slow-paced presentation and make sure everybody follows along. And so please interrupt me if you have questions. And if I don't finish what I have in the slides, that's fine, because I put what I consider more important things to the front. So after that, you can contact me in person or by email if you have further questions. So IIIF, so it's about images. Images protocol. It's set up protocols about sharing images across machines. But before I give you further explanations, let me show you something, some example of how people use it. This is one of the image viewers that is popular, complying with that IIIF protocol called Mirador. Maybe I can show you something from the browser. If you go to the Mirador homepage, they have online demo site. Yeah, you can find all these links from the IIIF homepage. I can show you later. So the demo, you see images here. So first of all, this is let me go to this image selection method. So you have rows of thumbnails here. So each row represents a collection of images, or in many cases it represents a physical book or manuscript findings. So, and the interesting thing about it is each row is served from different servers. So it's located from all over the world. For example, the first row, it's maybe you can't read it, but it's from Equalisys from Switzerland, and the second, the same. Third, from Harvard, University College Dublin, Harvard, Stanford, and somewhere. Yeah, there's also Yale and Oxford. So it's all over. So they use this as they are all public repositories, and they use it as a demo. So going back, here we have two image windows. So each showing, I think, Van Gogh's work. And so each window represents one of those collections. So replace object here, I can replace this with another collection, and it loads to that window. And also I can change layout to more complex ones and load other windows, or I can just go with one. So this one is very flexible and configurable. So in the one extreme, you can just display the images with minimal controls in kiosk mode. So you can show it alongside real exhibits in museums. On the other extreme, it's you can show all the menu options and multiple windows, and use it as a tool for annotation and research. And for the image, so on the bottom panel you can see the thumbnails for all the images for the collection. And the side panel, also there are some structure defined for this collection, chapters if you will, which can be hierarchical. So you can jump to that section. And this image window has a bunch of options, like annotating tools, or image manipulation tools. You can rotate images, control the brightness, contrast, saturation, grayscale, invert colors, mirror, reset. So, yeah, a bit of note here. This is all like this is a viewer, not editor. So the changes you make here will not persist. But the annotation, you can annotate the images, select a region, and type something. And save it, and then it gets saved to whatever annotation store you define. For this demo program, it just stores temporarily to this browser storage, but you can implement an offline server that with whatever complexity you want, and it also has different kind of views. This one is an image view which concentrates on single images, and there's a book view which it see like a book, and a scroll view, and gallery view. So this is, yeah. Also, you can see you can see the metadata that is defined for this collection, which is not a lot for this collection. So yeah, that's it. And that was a bit of taste for the mirror viewer. So what is IIIF? Again, it stands for International Image Interoperability. So images, clear, obvious, and interoperability is really a key. So if you go to the homepage, the model there is enabling richer access to the world's images, which means, in the context of interoperability, by having a set of common standards combined with open source environment. The spec itself is open source, and everything implemented by other people, it's open source. So whatever pros and cons of the open source community, this kind of translates into IIIF world. The usual things. Not the usual. Different institutions can collaborate and reference and link each other's artifacts in a transparent and scalable way. So if you have a set of protocols every implementation has conformed to, you can you can build a software that conforms to that standard. It's just like a web browser. If you have a web protocol, you can build your browser anywhere that can access the websites everywhere. So it's like for the images and annotations on the images, if you have that kind of standard, you can communicate easily, even in using machine readable way, not human way, interconnect automatically between institutions. So encourage development of new innovative software that can work with collections and promote shared components, shared efforts of development. also discoverability, like Google search engine. Not only you can find websites, or you can maybe implement this IIIF or like image data specific search engine that conforms to this standard to discover all the collections. So, so this IIIF is a consortium of institutions, and they define currently 4 core APIs. API, which you can think of it as a protocol. Generally, if you say API, you think of a specific application like Facebook or like what kind of video game, desktop video game, where you develop other software that can connect to this program to either augment the functionality or use the functionality in a specific way. So in that case, it's close. I mean, yeah, it's the same concept, but I think the protocol is more appropriate word here. So they define image API, presentation API, authentication API, search API. The first two is pretty much established and widespread, and authentication and search are still kind of in the works, so not everybody is using it. So the image API concerns, how you should serve the images and how you can consume that service. So from the consumer or client program's view, it's in reality a bunch of like REST-like URLs that you can access to the server, the request, and from the server's point, how the response to that request should be. I'll show you in a minute. And then presentation API is how to not the image level, but as we saw in the example of Mirador, there were collections defined and metadata defined, how they were structured, all that kind of information is consolidated into one JSON file called manifest, and there it has all the metadata information about how to present it. I mean, the representation of that collection. So any client program can interpret that to present them in their own way on their platform. So yeah, again, the core objects are images and annotations, and the whole thing is based on the philosophy of linked open data and semantic web model. So basically, it has to anybody can create anything, but it has to be all connectable and interpretable in a predefined way. But that's the ideal. I wouldn't say it has been fulfilled yet, but that's the direction we are going. The participation is, in a way, has been exploding for the past several years. It's not that old, either consortium-wise or the software or API. It's not that old, but now it has, they are using it and they are contributing effort to develop the components. So all over the world, originally developed from, I think, Stanford Library, they had the initiative, and then Harvard worked, Yale, and then so Americas, and then Europe. It's, I would say, in North America and Europe, it is now a pretty dominant framework for the GLAM community, the gallery, library, archive, museum community, and also some academic research. And recently a lot of participation from Japan.
So is this something that is only within the institutions themselves, or is it open to the public?
The philosophy, the basic assumption is open, but you can further like impose further restrictions in a controlled way. For example, you can imagine a library has materials that can be open to public, no restrictions, or some collections can be served public only in like reduced quality, or in, maybe some research communities or just grant exclusive access to the community members only. So that's up to the users.
So
Yeah.
copyrighted stuff would be limited, or so-limited stuff that's not copyrighted.
Could you elaborate the question?
So I work at the Yale Center for British Art,
Uh-huh.
and most of our stuff is in the public domain. But there's also stuff that is not in
Yeah.
the public domain. We used to not be open to the public. It used to be a private collection. So a lot of the stuff that would go online, if it's in the public domain, if I don't work at the university or if I'm not a researcher or anything like that, is access granted to this through Mirador to me.
Oh, okay. I'm not really familiar with the copyright stuff, but there is some mechanism built into the API that, although it's very complicated, they control those kinds of aspects. Did you say YCBA?
Yes.
Yeah. Actually, Michael Appleby is the author of the authentication API,
Okay.
so he must be experimenting with many things. I'm just trying to follow his and his group's development.
Okay.
So the current state is it's really optimized for like public access and open everything. But other configuration is possible, but I think it's in developing mode.
Okay.
And so application areas, in terms of audience and users, as I said, GLAM is the dominant force. And recent like couple of years, research demanding research, especially in digital humanities, has been really burgeoning from all over the world. So there are a lot of, traditionally it was galleries and museums, and then now because of the research, there's a lot of new use cases like coming up. So there's a very active ongoing enhancement both to the specifications and implementation programs going on now, which is very exciting. Also, they are reaching out to STEM community both in research and education aspect. So the objects for like display or curation, there are obviously artworks, manuscripts, books, and the latter ones are relatively new and in development. So audio and video, newspapers, 3D, VR, AR objects. Those are technically not images, 2D images. So there's some discussion about whether they have to change IIIF for like IXIF or something like that. So to give you some taste of some websites, YCBA site here. Go to the browser. Let me open up this particular site. For this, I have to use another window. So let me load up the previous Mirador screen. And interesting about the YCBA site has it does have its own Mirador window. It's this one. Maybe it's a deeper level. But the interesting thing is you also have this IIIF logo here, which you can just drag and drop to a Mirador client, and then the whole collection will show there. So that's I mean one very simple but like powerful example of what the shared standard or protocol can do. This icon has the manifest information in it, and if you drag it somewhere, the client program can understand it and show it there. Another thing, just a simple STEM example. The Harvard edX they also use Mirador and use as a image. There's some science education images, and they use. I think they enable shared annotations, so annotating, so students can annotate the images and compare it in class. So this is useful. I'll talk in the next slide. We have another, actually, audio-video example. So this is a video, but in the IIIF effort, it's just being treated just like Canvas's images, but it's only different in that it has like another dimension, time dimension. So we are showing as time goes, we have an image being displayed here, which is another type of annotation, and multiple like videos, and you can specify multiple location for the videos and duration. Another example. Oh, by the way, this is from Digital Humanities, a private company working on IIIF in Britain. So this is a old video. So this whole thing is a video, but it's it's also represented by a manifest that contains structures and annotations and stuff. So on the side you can see the same kind of a table of contents. So you can jump to the relevant section. And yeah. By the way, this is a useful tool for learning humanities, I guess. Can I go back to? Okay, let's delve into the image API. So, as I said, it's from the client point of view, it's a bunch of URLs you can call. So the first one, it has a host name and path, and the last thing, ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. Up to that point, it can be considered as an ID for the URI or ID of that image. And then info.json, it means I want the metadata for that image. And so the first one is will return something like that. This it has everything is in JSON LD, like linked data conformance JSON format, and ID. It has context, which is you can think of a schema for this file, and ID, in the linked data world, the globally unique ID is very important, and yeah, protocol with height sizes, it is served or like invest and tiles and profiles. So if you use an image server, if it's a IIIF, there's without thinking IIIF, I mean for our like research community support experience, even without IIIF thing, these having a tile server, there's not many tile server around, so it's very useful to deal with the images. So if you serve images with tile server, it's just like Google Maps. Imagine you don't define any tiles, and then if you look at the map of the USA, the whole, and zoom in, but if the first time you load that up, you have to download all the detailed images first, and then zoom it from the client. Because it serves in tiles, for when you request that whole area, it just serves that small image version we call tile of the whole thing. So it's very small traffic. And then as we zoom in, it then serves all the like more detailed image tiles for that resolution incrementally, so it can be optimized for. So in the same way, when we use the IIIF server as a tile server, we benefit a lot when we deal with huge images, like at least 100 megabytes or gigabytes. Then it will save a lot of traffic and computing power. So, yeah, sorry going back and forth, but let me show you some examples in the browser. So it's supposed to be called by machines, but if I call by hand, I mean, it's because it's just simple URLs. If I request info.js metadata for the image, you can see there's the size information, tiles information, what scale of tiles are provided, and then other, like for this server, only JPGs will be served when it arrives at the client, and the quality is native. Well, this is an older version of API, so native means whatever is set to default, right? So it's either this or that. So color or gray, or there can be other options based on the server implementation or configuration. And it also supports other kind of options. So if it's serve the rotation by 90s, or you can also serve more like fine-grained operations, mirroring stuff. So when I make the actual request for the image, yes. So this is a full-size image, but obviously it's tiled. But I'm requesting the full region, full size of the image by this. Yeah. You cannot read the URL here, but at the end of the URL it says a --4. I mean /4/4. So if I change that to another parameter, actually specify the full region, but width of 400 pixels, it serves that right away. And I can also they crop it to a specific region, and so it's very convenient. You can manipulate all this by changing the URL parameters. You can request a grayscale, bitonal, rotated. So yeah, that's from the client side. The presentation on API side, yeah, it all revolves with the annotation, manifest definitions, which contains again the ID of the artifact and the metadata and stuff. All the what sequences of images they should display, what kind of annotations are defined, or where from which server it has to be retrieve annotations or other set of other data compare their maybe the same representation as XML format or something like that. So when you say a manifest file, the presentation API side also has this diagram describing overall structure. This centerpiece is manifest, but it can be there can be also a collection of manifests, multiple manifests, or collection of collections, so it can be hierarchical. And then it has sequence of images, canvas, and canvas is the equivalent of what you have other drawing programs like Adobe Illustrator. You have canvas where you can put up multiple images or other objects. And then you have annotations, or structure. Range represents a structure. You can define whatever structure. The simplest would be the sections and paragraphs. So at ITS, we have Oren here leads the team I'm in, and we provide various kinds of custom development, mainly for web applications. And one significant branch is supporting the research community, and the IIIF has been a very big part of over the past few years. So we have multiple projects like DESN, 10,000 Rooms, Life of the Buddha, Digital Archive of Medieval Song. They are all digital humanities research projects, which was quite exciting and successful. So in doing that, inside the IIIF community, the Yale YCBA and the ITS CCT have been a very important force in pioneering the use cases in our case, the research area, such as the novel use of annotations in particular, and also contributions to the data open source repertoire by reporting bugs and providing fixes, code contributions, and even spec discussions and voting, presentations, demos, and conferences. So I'll just skim over and take questions. So this is what the 10,000 Rooms looks like. We have a portal where you can define your own projects, create your own projects in a DIY way, and then inside the project, each you have a unit of books. If you say you can say we have augmented the mirrored screen, which is the first two columns here, and then with the annotations windows, we developed. It has pretty cool additional functionalities. I don't think I have time to show everything here. And another project, Life of Buddha, a little bit looks like the same. We have portal where you can search for things, and then again we have a mirrored screens. This one is a little bit different. The previous one was a DIY research collaboration site where you can define project and collaborative annotate things between professors and students. And this one, so that concerns more the authoring and developing stuff. This one is from the material. It's more about presenting the already defined material by researchers to the public. So this is quite interesting actually. Maybe you want to explore it later. It's the life of the Buddha. So it tells the story. It's a bunch of scans of murals from Tibet, and then which is the whole life story of Buddha, and they are annotating it in a story. So it's a storytelling format. Then from the sidebar, you can see chapters of the story, and you can navigate the images around it. So we also have a medieval song project, which is not technically not 100% complete because it's not actively being used. So, but it's another dimension we are cutting out for the IIIF. So, yeah, we have over architecture. The main thing is the image server, conceptually image server and annotation server, and we are like. This is for Life of the Buddha. So for many different projects, we have various architecture with various complexity depending on our needs. This is kind of most complicated, I think. So image server, but also we have store images and cache to the Amazon S3 server. And then we have a separate annotation server, which is an optional decision to make. And so we have a project portal where you can see the project, also the search interface, and separate application server. You can download the Mirador augmented JavaScript client. This is not that important, but basically we have like open source community Mirador version. We had to augment it with our own JavaScript code. That's it. Basically everything on the client side, everything is JavaScript. And same thing. So Mirador is Mirador. The IIIF shared effort, and everything OpenC-driven is another key component. Mirador is depending on. The green things are like other open source libraries we are depending on. The blue thing, the Mirador 1 and Yale Mirador is the JavaScript augmentation for Mirador, and Anacret and Mirador process another modules that hopefully can be used by other institutions that is separated from Yale Mirador. So, I guess that's it. So here are some useful links. IIIF homepage is, of course, the canonical source, and it contains a lot. So that I recommend you visit that page first and explore. It connects to all kinds of information outside too. And there's also awesome IIIF homepage page where it lists like curated list of like resources for IIIF. And so from the homepage, the /community is a very good page. If you are interested in participating, they have all the pointers. So where to join the discussion groups or Slack channels, or when the online video conferences happen, the calendars. And finally, 10,000 rooms in Life of Buddha, our projects. Thanks. That's it. Thank you.